Humans of the cardboard, I am finally home to cover the brand new Gold Pride archetype. Very, very hyped. This is a new TCG exclusive archetype coming out in Photon Hypernova in, I think, about 2.5 weeks-ish, something like that. It's really exciting, to be honest, because I think there's some good potential here from what I've read so far. So we're going to run through the 7 new cards. Keep in mind this is only the first wave, so it's almost not supposed to be like a fully awesome archetype just yet, because we should be getting 7 more cards in the next core set, Cyberstorm Access. But it's still very hyped to see a really strong start from a TCG exclusive, because we really haven't seen the best, the best showing from TCG exclusives as of late. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the monster we already know, Gold Pride Leon. Might as well cover this. Again, this is a level 3 Wind Warrior, so he's a Rota target. He's also a tuner. 1500 attack, 1200 defense. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can special summon this card from your hand. You're going to find that all the monsters revealed here have that same clause. Very nice. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target a non-warrior Gold Pride monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense. Also, you cannot special summon from the X deck the rest of the turn except Gold Prides. That's pretty good as well. Both the other monsters are not warriors as well, so you're able to get those out. And then during the opponent's main phase, you can just pretty much quick effect do a synchro summon with only Gold Pride monsters. What's really cool with that is, even though you have to use only Gold Pride monsters when you do this synchro summon, it doesn't lock you into summoning only Gold Pride monsters unless you had already used his effect to like revive a monster. That would have locked you. If you didn't lock yourself, you can synchro summon anything generically, which is kind of cool. So yeah, pretty powerful card. 3 solid effects, honestly. Decent extender. Gets you a monster back from grave, so that's a +1. And then the potential interrupted bonus of being able to do the quick synchro. Good card, I think. Moving on, let's go to Gold Pride Nitro Head. This is a level 8 Fire Pyro effect monster. 23-26 for the stats. Same first effect, summons from hand if your life points are lower than your opponent's. During your opponent's standby phase, you can special summon a Nitro token. This is just a 0/0 level 8 Fire Pyro token to your opponent's field, but it cannot be used as link material. This is a really interesting thing, because since it can't be used as link material, it's a token, so it can't be used for Exceed Summon. It can't be used for link material, obviously. And, funny enough, fusions generally can't. That's like a weird stat line for fusions anyway. And as far as synchros go, level 8's kind of a weird level. The only way that like something would make it great use of a level 8 token is with a level 2 tuner, right? Getting to a 10, getting to a Barone, Cheng-Ying, that kind of stuff. So outside of those specific decks that are playing level 2 tuners, how are you taking advantage? How's your opponent going to take advantage of this token? But the other cool thing too is that during your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can target the Nitro token on the field, destroy that token, also destroy all cards in its adjacent monster zones and spell and trap zones. So pretty much anything touching it also will get blown up there, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, you do have to place the token in standby phase, so it's not like you get to quick effect place the token in a really opportunistic place. But you can still, if you know it's a link strategy, you can place it in an awkward place, so that way when they have to go into the extra deck, you're potentially clogging a link zone, or you're going to be able to hit a certain link zone, whatever it is. It's cool. It's a cool effect. And I like that even if they could use the token, you can just clear the token pretty easily once you see that they're about to use it. So it's a cool card. This card isn't crazy to me. This one may be the one oddball to me that's like, it's like an interesting card. I'm just not sure how good it is, because you're not able to place the token at the best place, and it's kind of somewhat easy to play around. But still a cool card nonetheless. And an extender, right? As long as you get that life point qualification going. Next up, we move to Captain Carrie. She's cool. She looks really cool. She's going to be a lot of people's favorite waifus, for sure. This is a level 3 Water Fiend effect monster. 900 attack, 17 defense. Yeah, same special summon effect. If your life points are lower, plops out of the hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Gold Pride trap from your deck to your hand. It's pretty interesting. I kind of wish this could have also added a spell, because the spell we're going to see is also a pretty nice card. It's not the worst thing in the world, but, it'd be nice. The trap's also very good, so still good that it searches that, but yeah. And the second effect, third effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Gold Pride monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck. Banish up to 3, Gold Pride cards from your graveyard. That includes, like, it could banish itself. And if you do, that monster gains 500 attack for each card banished this way. That's interesting. That could come up where you really have to get a KO. The one interesting thing to keep in mind with this strategy is because your deck seems to be a little bit better, your engine seems to be a little bit stronger, they become extenders when your life points are lower than your opponent's. So if you're going to kill, you kind of want to do it all in one fell swoop, so that way your life points are never higher than your opponent's, aside from you just briefly while you kill them. And so your engine doesn't get worse, because then, like, you kind of like take the lead in life points, but then your engine's just worse, and it kind of is going to create an easier path for your opponent to get back into the duel. Still a really good card. It appears to be the main normal summon so far. Really the only normal summon, I would say. Not bad. Pretty cool card. Kind of wish it searched spells too, but the trap's good, so I'm not going to complain too much there. Now I move to some extra deck cards. The first one here is Gold Pride Star Leon. Really cool. This is a level 6 Light Thunder Synchro. 2,000 attack, 2,000 defense. Completely generic, which is also very cool. Makes this card actually like a pretty interesting, just generic, generically accessible support card here in the extra. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls. This card will gain attack equal to its original attack. Then, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can destroy that monster. So again, this card becomes a pretty solid, just Dryad-esque, like, little pop interruption card. But your life points have to be lower. That's definitely a big downside. But if they are, it's pretty good. You can only use the previous effect once per turn, so that's just once per turn. And a soft once per turn. During the end phase, if the previous effect was activated this turn, return this card to the extra. This is mandatory, by the way. And if you do, special summon one Gold Pride Leon from your deck or graveyard. I love that it's deck or graveyard. That's nice. But long story short, this card just kind of resets your play, which is pretty cool. Because you're going to summon Leon. Leon's probably going to reborn the girl. Most likely, and then she's going to search you for another trap card. So you're also rotating really nicely. So ideally, on the opponent's turn, you'll interrupt them with the first effect. Then on end phase, this will tag out for another Leon. Leon will revive the Carrie, and then Carrie will search you another copy of the trap, which is very good. We'll get to that in a little bit. Next up, we move to Gold Pride Nitro Blaster, a Link 2 Pyro Link, points up and down. So definitely making me think that we're going to get something, an extra monster corresponding to Carrie, just because we have one for both Nitro Head and Leon. So I would assume that will come maybe in the next set. But yeah, 2,300 attack, pretty beefy for a Link 2. It points up and down. It takes any 2 Gold Prides with different levels, also very interesting. So that does mean, unfortunately, you can't use Carrie plus Leon, because they're both level 3s, but I'm sure as we get more support, we'll get more different levels. But yeah, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Then, if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can destroy all cards in its adjacent monster and spell and trap zone. So again, kind of that added ceiling. If your opponent is not careful, has a little bit of like Mech Knight feel to it. If your opponent's not careful, not thinking about where they're placing cards, you may be able to like super punish them for placing cards too close to each other. It's very cool. Once per turn during the end phase. If this card was activated this turn, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon one Gold Pride Nitro Head from your deck or graveyard. So kind of same exact thing as this card once you've used the effect, which is pretty good. Just like pop any monster and potentially, hit other stuff too. This card tags out for the Nitro Head. Nitro Head's not as good to rotate into as Leon, but I still wouldn't complain overall there. There's also benefits, by the way. I didn't even mention this. There's also extra benefits with Nitro Head. Giving your opponent the token, I think about Kashtira. It's kind of just an anti-Kashtira strategy because you give them a token, which means they cannot special any of the big Kashtiras that require you to have no monsters on field. Also post side, Lightning Storm, right? Any of those cards that kind of evenly match. Lightning Storm, Pankratops, cards that kind of just require you to not have cards on field yet, impermanence even. That's kind of cool. So there's also some added benefit there. All right, into the final two cards here. We have one spell, one trap. They're both good. The first one is Gold Pride, the Crowd Goes Wild. It's a normal spell. Reveal one Gold Pride monster in your hand. Add one Gold Pride monster with a different name from your deck to your hand. Then you can apply the following effect. Special summon one Gold Pride monster from your hand, but lose life points equal to its original attack. So finally we see a card here that actually burns you to kind of set up the rest of the strategy to like work. But ideally, if this card's live, you're going to have some legit plays, because not only is it adding any monster you want, it's assuming we already have one in hand, which means we're kind of cooking. It already summons one from hand, which essentially this is kind of just like E-Telly, right? Because whatever you search, you could just summon. So essentially, it's summoning something from deck. And it also burns you. So that means you would then, whatever the other monster you had in hand, you don't even have to normal summon that. So this card kind of guarantees you to not need your normal summon for Gold Pride stuff if you don't want to. My only downside to this card, of course, is that you have to reveal a Gold Pride monster. After this first wave of support, only having 3 monsters, and I'm not even sure if Nitro heads a 3 of at this point, you're just not going to as consistently have this be live. After the next wave, I would assume we'd have 2 or 3 more monsters that kind of make that a lot more consistent. But yeah, if this resolves, I'm assuming it's one of the best starters in your deck, if not the best one going forward. So really good. Hardman's Return as well, I mentioned that. And the last card, the trap card, Gold Pride, Start Your Engines. It's a normal trap, not once per turn at all, if your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster. Target one of those monsters, reveal 3 Gold Pride monsters from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you. Excuse me. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon, then shuffle the rest back into your deck, then destroy the targeted monster. So this is literally Trap Hole that also just summons a monster of your strategy straight out of the deck. So very, very good for sure. And yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this card. I just like this card. This card kind of just makes like Carrie like actually a pretty good starter, at least going first, because you go Carrie, search the trap. Even if you have nothing else, you're able to just set the trap, and on the opponent's turn, this is going to pop like just Trap Hole, pop a monster when they summon it, and then summon out your Leon, who then gives you access to another quick effect synchro summon with Carrie into your Leon. And then if your life points are lower, hopefully you've done something to make your life points lower, you would presumably be able to pop a monster there. So it should be at least 2 pops just from that. And then of course on end phase, Leon's tagging out for the Leon Synchro is tagging out for regular Leon. He's going to reborn Carrie again. She's going to search you another follow-up trap, and you're going into your next turn with 2 monsters and a trap card added to hand, which is pretty solid. So all in all, I think it's a really cool engine. It rotates pretty well. I mean, just going through the cards, I'm like, yeah, Leon's a good card. Nitro Head I still have questions about. Maybe support down the line will make him feel a little more at home. He still feels a little bit awkward in the deck. Like, what are we really doing with him? Carrie's pretty good. I'm assuming we'll get at least one more trap card in the next wave that could add more versatility to what we can search, but the trap card we already have is pretty solid. Star Leon's pretty good as well. That's a pretty good boss monster. Just needs you to guarantee you can get your life points lower than your opponents, but other than that, really good. Nitro Blaster, really good extra deck monster. That's going to be great for removal there, and it's big. Good starter card in The Crowd Goes Wild, and another good just engine/interruption card in Start Your Engine. So I can't really complain. I think the start here is legitimately solid. It's really giving me like Plunder vibes, where it kind of feels like it wants to play like more of a pure deck, but we just don't have enough cards yet after the first wave. So I'm definitely going to be looking for the second wave. That's going to be really, really huge. Hopefully they capitalize on the good start and really make this like at least a cool rogue deck. That would be awesome. Somewhere in the vein that like Plunder's been would be great. And yeah, now it's just sit back and see. As far as splashability, the only engine that really sticks out to me, and DZ, by the way, the guy who had the video, who was able to release these via Konami sponsorship, shout out to him. He mentions this in the video. Punk seems to be like one of, if not the best options you're going to have for this deck, because this deck doesn't seem like it overly needs your normal summon. 2, all the Punk monsters pay life points to search, so you should be able to pay life points immediately to kind of just make all the Gold Pride cards just good extenders. and they're also synchro based. So it also just adds the fact that, like, cool, we're playing another synchro engine. We're going to be able to make multiple synchro engines like going at the same time. And I think it's a pretty cool idea. I can't wait to see kind of like what people can do out the gate. But of course, the bigger thing here is first wave, 7 more cards next set. That should be the wave where this strategy becomes legitimately playable on its own. But a very cool start nonetheless. I have no complaints. I'm just happy we have something to show for a TCG exclusive archetype with some really good promise. So I'm here for it. I love it. It's a good start. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. One a little more in-depth because it's a whole new archetype being revealed here and a lot to kind of go through, a lot of synergies and stuff. But really cool archetype. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts, so let me know down below. But I'm out of here for today. Subscribe if you haven't. You want to see more stuff from your boy down the line. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.